If you are new to the channel or been here since the beginning, the goal has never changed. We are collecting every single WOTC set ever printed, plus every single promo, and there's a lot of them. Now, with the catch of only buying cards in person like I would as a kid, it's been somewhat of a journey. It's been difficult, and finding those odds and end cards that are not really at your local card shops or shows have been the most challenging ones to track down. So naturally, when I go to a big event like Collecticon, I have goals. I have cards I want to find. I'm not really dropping my standards. I am hoping for at least LP-ish or better. I don't buy destroyed cards for any of my binders, so finding the right copies is always difficult as well. If you have not seen part 1 of my Collecticon experience yet, I will link that in the description below. This video now will have a lot of spoilers in it, so go watch part 1 first and get back to this one. But to continue on, I picked up 47 cards while I was in Orlando, plus 1 slab. It was more slabs, but I did break them open for my master sets. But I ended up finishing Neo 100% across all 5 sets. That includes Southern Islands, plus one of the sub-specialty sets I was working on, which was the Energizer game. And I picked up a lot more cards for all of the odds and ends. So let's jump into it. Let's check out every single card I brought home. There are shinings, there are crystals, there is a million different Cosmo Hollows. I just have a ton of cards laid out around me. It's not really gonna go in any particular order. I'm gonna start with just a couple piles here and kind of just flip through cards, let you know how I obtained certain ones, and how I got a little bit of the money as well to buy a lot of these cards over the past weekend, because I ended up selling a bunch of things as well while I was there. So to preface, on Friday, I did get into Collecticon early. I only spent about an hour there, and my main mission was to sell the fossil theme deck boxes I had. If you had seen that video, I had a set of 6 fossil theme decks in the original packaging from Pokemon, and I got them sold, which was freaking awesome. I love the boxes, but it ended up being $640 of spending money over the course of the weekend, and I would much have rather finished all of these sets that I did than to have those boxes just in a closet, not put out on display. They were just in the original brown box, and they just were not really that exciting to look at, but they were a super cool piece of history. So with that money, I set out with my goal in mind. Card 1 I wanted to track down was the Southern Islands Mew. I went through, I think, 3 or 4 copies before buying the right one, and I got it for a great deal. You saw that in video 1. I ended up paying 50 bucks for Southern Islands Mew in great shape. You'll see it here shortly, but let's check out some of the cards. The first stack here that I have in front of me are all Master Balls. So I did have a goal to track down some Master Balls, and they were cheap while we were there. Every Master Ball I got was at least around $10 or less. So in the pile, in no particular order, we have Weedle, Bulbasaur, Nidoqueen, Golbat, Paris, Parasect, Primeape, Weeping Bell, Kingler, Voltorb, Marowak, Tangela, Goldeen, and Seeking was stuck behind it. Starmie, Tauros, Amistar, Kabuto, Dome Fossil, and Bill. So 20. I picked up 20 Master Balls while I was there for my 151 Master set, and I'm in it for under 200 bucks for all these. The market has dropped. Master Balls are pretty affordable right now with all the 151 reprints they've done, so I know they're gonna go back up at some point. I am down to 35 Master Balls remaining now. So this was actually the only modern I bought outside of the 1 slab, which you'll see here shortly. Everything else is vintage, everything else is WOTC era. This is where the fun actually starts. So this was the first set I actually finished, the Energizer game. If you've seen these cards before, it's every energy. I think it's a set of 8 or 9, and they are all Cosmo Hollows. They are unnumbered. There's no set, there's no indicator on these cards. So finding them is kind of a challenge. I ended up getting the Rainbow Energy and the Lightning Energy. They are swirled up cards. I found a binder completely filled with these cards. And when I say completely filled, I filmed that binder, I put it in video one. It was insane. I've never seen that many cards in one place by one person. I have only found these cards like one at a time, maybe once per month when I started this journey. So finding an entire binder with the last two I needed was actually pretty hype. I was really excited to pick these up because these are not something I find easily. These are not something I find locally. The next two cards are kind of a running joke on my Instagram. Follow my Instagram if you don't already. It's the same handle, Grim Horizon TV. I post Pokemon cards daily. Every single card I post is part of my personal collection, and I really try to take out the best in the cards when I take the pictures. Not tooting my own horn, but my content's actually pretty good there, so check it out. But for the last 6 weeks, I have been posting Weezing cards on Wednesdays. How this started, why this started, I do not know, but I needed a couple more Weezing cards because he is very limited on prints, and I found two EX Delta Species Weezing reverse stamp and Team Rocket Return reverse stamp. I actually went into the weekend wanting to find this card, so I found both of those. I want to say they're under $10 each. They are not that expensive, and I picked up two more cards, so my Weezing Wednesdays can last 2 more weeks. This next card is super freaking sick. The best of game cards. It is the winter stamped Rocket's Mewtwo. Now, you may have seen this card before or not. It is Rocket's Mewtwo from Gym Challenge, I think that is in. The winter stamp on it, the entire card is Cosmo foil, just like those energy cards. Big swirl on it there. There's another one hidden behind the energies over there, and another swirl there. There's not one really there at the top right corner, just a little piece of it. So it is almost quad swirled up, but it's in actually pretty decent shape. I picked up this one for, I think, 120 bucks. It is a super expensive card, but also a really rare card to find. This is one of the first ones I've seen in person in recent times, and it is in much better shape than the other I had previously seen. So I was coming home with it. I needed this card. Now, for these best of game cards, there are jumbo cards as well. So that's where the weekend got really cool. I ended up finding 6 of the jumbo cards needed for the best of game, and it ended up being the Electabuzz, the Hitmonchan, the Rocket Scizor, the Rocket Sneasel, the Rocket's Mewtwo, and the Rocket's Hitmonchan. Now, these are huge. Compared to a normal card, it is like 4 or 5 times the size of the card. The back sides are the same. They say not for play use on the top of them. They count. These are WOTC cards. These are WOTC printed era, and I need them. I need them all, and now I'm only missing 2. The Dark Ivysaur and the Venusaur are the last 2 jumbo cards I need. And for the regular size cards, I only need 2 there as well. Rocket's Hitmonchan, that is full Cosmo Hollows with the winter stamp, and then a Rocket Scizor without the winter stamp. I have one with the winter stamp already on it. I am just getting every variant of every set. Now to complete off the winter cards, Dark Venusaur. So I picked this one up, and that's what left me with 2 left of each, 2 of the jumbo, 2 of the regular size. This card you saw in the part 1 video, this was the non-holo Mewtwo from Legendary Collection. It was actually the last non-holo card I need for Legendary Collection. I did buy from a friend online every single non-holo card in the set a couple months ago, and this was the only one not included, and I have never actually seen one in person outside of this past weekend, so I had to come home with this one. It was 15 bucks. I got a deal on it, and it's in really good shape. Just a little bit of whitening there at the bottom corner. But one more card down for LC. I am not prioritizing Legendary Collection by any means. The reverses are just way too expensive, and it is like the 3rd or 4th reprint of most of the WOTC era just repeated again. So I'm having more fun tracking down e-readers than Legendary Collection. I'm going to assume LC is probably going to be the last set I finish from the WOTC era. The next 5 cards continue on with the obscure odds and ends of WOTC. I ended up picking up 5 W stamp cards from a gentleman at the trade night at one of the hotels. He said if I buy them all, he'll give me a deal, and he gave me a deal. I picked up all 5 of these for 40 bucks, and that's stupid cheap. The War Turtle, Brock's Vulpix, Kabuto, Dark Arbok, and finally the Pikachu. I think the Pikachu is close to that number alone by itself. They are all stupid clean, basically all LP to near mint, just a little bit of whitening on the backsides on every single one, but the faces are all super clean. You can't beat that. The only card I had in this entire stack was the War Turtle, so I'm gonna end up throwing that in my trade binder, and I am getting dangerously close to finishing the W stamps. The only one I now need is the Charmeleon. I believe that card was exclusive to Australia, so I've never seen one in person for sale, so the hunt continues for the Charmeleon. This is where the cards are gonna get really cool and really expensive very quickly. The Mew from Southern Islands, this was the last card I needed to complete Southern Islands. I am done 100%, and I pretty much finished the sets in order as the weekend progressed. So Southern Islands went first, that was knocked out. I was already completed with Genesis and Discovery, so this is actually the third installment in the Neo era. It was kind of sandwiched between Discovery and Revelation. This card is in pretty decent shape. There was a binder ding, if I remember correctly, on the backside. You can kind of see it right there. The front holo was really clean, so I thought this was the perfect binder card for the master set, and I got it cheap. I ended up getting it for 50 bucks off of a sticker price of like 120, so it was grossly overcharged to begin with, but after a little bit of negotiation, I talked them down. I got it for a deal. That's going straight into the binder. I love this pickup. And it kind of leads into the next couple. For Revelation, if you saw part 1, I did sell off my PSA 1 Gyarados and Magikarp at the same booth. And I ended up getting this Hypno from Aquapolis. This card is in good shape, more or less. Another little binder ding, just almost in the same spot as the Mew. And the front holo is actually really clean. There's no real problem with it on the front side. The holo itself looks great. All the orbs jump out. So I was happy with this copy. I traded the PSA 1 slabs for the Hypno plus the Gyarados. Now, the Gyarados here is, I would say, LP to near mint, more so on the LP side. The front, no real issues at all, and that's what we're looking for the master set. The backside has a couple surface scratches on it, I guess rubbing up against something, a little bit of whitening on the top corner there, and a little bit of whitening on the bottom corner and the bottom sides. So this card is expensive. This card in this condition is about 300 plus. So trading both slabs for the Gyarados and the Hypno, I was cool with that. I had initially bought both of those slabs for 150 each on eBay. I did buy those, I didn't grade them myself. So I was in the slabs for 300. Quick trade, ended up with about 350 in trade value, I guess, in a sense, but these are going in the master set. And that also led to the last card, which was a slab, 2001 Neo Revelation Shining Magikarp PSA 7. I sold off a bunch of cards at the trade night that I had brought with me to my buddy JD. He ended up like cashing me out for another $300 or so. So this card came from trade night. It was in the slab and super clean, as you would expect as a PSA 7. It is in really good shape. And now I completed Revelation, needing the last two cards, Shining Magikarp and Shining Gyarados in raw form over the weekend. That gets you 4 sets completely completed for Neo. Let's move into the last 3 cards I needed for Destiny. They were somewhat of a challenge to track down over the course of the weekend. The first one more so of a challenge than others because I only saw 1 or 2 copies of it the entire time. Now, this is the Dark Espeon. It had a little bit of whitening on the backside, little dot there. And I ended up getting this card, I want to say for 120 bucks or $100 flat. I think it was actually, I think it was marked as 120 or 125, but I got it for 100 flat. It's pretty clean. The holo is like almost pristine on this card. I'm going to shove some light on it to show you. And it has a massive head swirl right off the ear. I was pretty excited about this one. There's only a little bit of chipping on the top edge there, and it doesn't have a lot of the edge wear that you typically see on Neo Destiny cards. this was a great pickup. This was a great start to the weekend. I got it kind of early on Saturday. So moving into the Light Dragonite now, you saw that in part 1 of this video. It was a struggle. This one was actually the worst card of the entire weekend to track down and buy and negotiate for. There was only one copy I saw at the entire show, and it wasn't the best copy. This card is kind of pushing MP, a lot of whitening on it, little chunk of whitening right there. Top side's not terrible, and then on the front, and I completely missed it the first time I was looking at this card, that is not hollow bleed. That is a little chip in the front face itself. Kind of actually looks like hollow bleed because the Cosmo behind it is showing, but it was 120. They countered 100. I said no, I walked. A couple hours later, I went back to look at it again. We really looked at the card and was like, look, this card's not worth $100. It is not the condition that you're stating it is in. I think he even recognized the fact that it was MP. So we finally settled on a number and it was $70, and I'm happy with it. I'm happy I tracked down the last holo I needed for Neo, and that moves us into the last card of the entire weekend. So for the last card of the weekend to finish Neo, I got this card off of one of my buddies off Instagram. I was looking at his cards and he's like, you know who I am, right? And I was like, no. And it was my buddy Envy. He hooked me up on an awesome deal. Now, the only thing I do not like about this card is the whitening on the bottom left corner of it. It's a little rough there, but the rest of the card is actually overall pretty mint. Nothing wrong with the face really, just some light scratches in the actual shining part of the Celebi's head. And backside's good besides that whitening. So I think he had 230 on this card and he ended up hooking me up at 160. So shout out to Envy. I appreciate the deal there. It is an awesome card. And this was the last card I picked up to complete Neo Destiny. It is 100% finished. Neo itself is 100% finished. And the only things I need to be 100% done all the way up to the end of Neo Destiny are the 2 Black Star promos and those couple winter cards. So for the Black Star promos, the only cards I need are Pokemon Center and Lucky Stadium. They are the pricey ones, $400-500 plus each. I saw multiple copies when I was there at con, but they were not in the budget for the weekend. I was much happier picking up all the smaller cards than spending hundreds upon hundreds of dollars on those cards specifically, when honestly they're not even that cool looking. I would much rather pay bigger dollars for something with Cosmo Holos than for something without. Now, before I get to the absolute biggest deal and the biggest pickup of the weekend to finish off this video, I wanted to show off the one card I got for Holly. She is a big Eevee collector and I got her something really cool. I got a great deal on this one as well. It had a little bit of a pinched lip on the top back corner. She only collects raw, she does not collect graded, and her standards are a little less than mine, but she got a munch Eevee. This card's actually kind of sick. I picked it up for, I think, 160 as well. 160, I think, was the number of almost anything this weekend. So the trend had continued, but this is a Grail card. Not a lot of people have this card. And the couple copies I ended up finding at con were all stupid money, like $250, $300 plus for this card. So I thought 160 was a great deal. She only ended up getting one card for the entire weekend, but I think she got a good one. So I'm ready. I am ready to show off the Holy Grail of the entire weekend. I ended up trading my BGS 9.5 Raichu. I bought that card off of a buddy raw. I graded it myself. It got a 9.5. I attempted to cross grade it with PSA. It got returned as is. So I had a little bit money invested in grading, but overall I did not own it for that much. I traded it for 2 slabs. One being the PSA 10 Charizard from 151 in Japanese. I am going to put this card into my PC. I love every card from 151, all of the alt arts. I have most of them as PSA 10s now. I am missing the Venusaur and a couple others, but I have the big boys. I have Charizard, I have Blastoise, I have Erica, and I'm going to collect the entire line. So this was a great pickup. The Erica I ended up getting, I actually traded at trade night to one of my buddies. I sold it to him for a little bit of money. That ended up becoming more cards that I just showed off, so I didn't hang on to that one. But the biggest card of the entire weekend was this 2003 Aquapolis Lugia. It is a crystal. It was a PSA 5. I came home, broke it open. There was literally dirt on this card from grading, so I cleaned it up as best as I could. You're not gonna fix whitening. That is still on the card. It is gonna be a binder card, and the backside's a little worse than the front, but I am beyond thrilled to pick this up. This is my first crystal in my collection, and to start off with Lugia, I think is probably the absolute best case scenario. The holo is insane looking on it. It is in actually really decent shape holos wise, but you can see a little bit of the edge wear there and there. The rest of the card looks really good. When I say I love it, I love it. Like, this is a sick card. I cannot believe I picked it up so soon after starting Aquapolis. I love the Raichu. I already had a reverse Raichu in my LC collection, but to be able to trade that card for such a grail like this, I would do it. I would do it again and again and again. And to take this card home just is kind of super surreal. So to recap, my weekend was pretty awesome. From leaving at the crack of dawn Thursday morning, I did spend actually Thursday afternoon and night with my parents, so it was nice to see them, see their new home in Ocala. And then Friday morning, I buzzed over to Orlando in a rental, met up with my buddies, spent the day with them, and Saturday and Sunday was just straight con. And coming home with all of these cards I just showed off, I'm happy. Like, I'm actually really happy with the outcome of the weekend. It was a blast. I got to see so many friends. I got to meet so many people. And I actually got recognized as being a YouTuber for the first time, which was kind of on the weird side. I didn't even know how to respond to that. Two individuals said, "Hey, I watch your YouTube channel. I watch your videos. They're super cool." So that was an experience all on its own. I know it's going to happen more and more. I don't know how to react to it. So it's gonna be a learning process. To the guys that did say hey to me, I definitely appreciate it. If you see me in person, say hey. I won't bite. I'm happy to chat cards. I love to see what others pick up and what you get over the course of the weekend too. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. I had a blast this weekend. I am looking forward to doing so many Collecticons over the course of the year. I plan on doing every single one on the East Coast. So on to the next one.
Don't stop, breathe.